So we have been doing a lot of work in book groups. Well, we started with partnerships and then we moved into book clubs. And we've done a lot of thinking about our thoughts and our opinions and using what we read in the text to really push our thinking about what we know, right? Coming to conclusions. And so you guys have been writing Post-its and really been doing a great job of getting those opinions down on paper. And one of the things as readers that we really work a lot on is really digging into the book and seeing if there is more than what we originally think, I guess I should say. So, for example, I know that there's oftentimes that I'm reading something and I might have even a misconception about what I'm reading, and as I read on and dig deeper, I have a different thought, sort of. My thinking changes as I get more into the information or into the book or whatever I'm reading. And so we are going to push our thinking today with a text that we have not seen yet. You guys haven't seen this one yet. And it's called Hard at Work. The work part is on the next page. And so our job today is to really do some serious digging into this book and really think about our thoughts as readers. We are going to use a chart to sort of help us organize our thoughts as we think through this text. And so we have a facts column. So we are going to look at this and any facts that stand out to us, right? Do you think, well, first of all, what genre are we reading today, do you think?
Nonfiction.
What makes you think nonfiction, Sloan?
Because
Let's let Sloan. Sloan, what do you think?
It says South America, and it seems like, and it says like many kids in Ecuador go to work instead of school. It just seems like, and most articles are like nonfiction.
Most articles are nonfiction. She says, and Ecuador, anyone familiar with Ecuador?
Yeah.
Where is it? Raise your hand if you can tell me if you happen to know where Ecuador is, and you might use some pictures on here to help you figure that out. Jules, what do you think?
Looks like it's like top left corner, sort
Of
South America.
Of South America, you're right. So do you think we're going to learn a little bit about some things about Ecuador as we read this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, so we have this. So we're going to learn some facts about hard at work. Something about somebody or something being hard at work, maybe. And then we're going to write down some opinions that we have about those facts. Because oftentimes when we read new information, do we have lots of exciting thoughts about it? Absolutely. And then this is where you guys, as fantastic readers, are going to push your thinking about how does our original opinions on what we think, as we read on, do our thoughts change a little bit? Okay, so I have an article for you. This article I have for you, and I'm going to give it to you in a little bit. I have made color copies for you. But what I first want you guys to do is I'm going to give you a clipboard. So you can just take a clipboard and pass it, and on the clipboard is the piece of paper that looks very similar to the chart we have up here. And, oh, you know what I forgot to have you get?
Pencil.
A pencil. Will you do me a favor? Grab a pencil real quick and come back and take a seat on the rug. And maybe you can sit in a different spot. Come back and sit in a different spot. Jules, here you go, dude.
A different spot.
Because we are flexible.
Scooch
Here you go, Liv. Okay, so as you take a look at this template, can you make sure, or just take a look, what do you notice about the template on your clipboard versus the template that I just showed you up here? What do you notice? Anybody notice anything? Let me get one to some of you. Thank you. Oliver, what do you notice about it?
You drew yours.
I drew mine and yours is not drawn. Yes. Anything else you noticed about it?
Yeah, and then it says rethink something.
Yeah, so mine has a title on it that says Rethink Misconceptions and Tie Opinions to Text, and yours actually doesn't have this title on it. But this is sort of our goal of what we're working on today, and so we're going to see if we can rethink our opinions, and that's a great question. Oliver, misconceptions, that's kind of a big word, and I know I read it to you, but what are misconceptions? What even are those things? Totally, what do you think?
Misconceptions are where they think one thing, but you're wrong. But it's the other thing.
Oh.
So I think that an eagle is an animal with 4 legs.
Okay.
I had a misconception.
Okay.
Because it actually has 2 legs.
Okay, so Tully says misconceptions are things that he said are wrong. You're wrong.
Right, yeah.
You think you know something and it turns out to not be the case, right? Good. Anyone want to add on to what Tully said? Or you think that we have a good, that's what a misconception is? You're right. Okay, so here we go. I am going to model a little bit of this thinking for you first. And then I'm going to give you guys a chance to do some talking. And then you're going to work a little bit on your own before we come back and share some of our thinking and see if any of us were able to change our thinking in some way. So I'm going to start it out. So it's called Hard at Work. And the subtitle says, many kids in Ecuador go to work instead of school. So I know right there, even after I read that first sentence, I think kids go to work instead of school. So I'm feeling right now, like I need to read on to find a little bit more about that, but I'm feeling like I don't know that I necessarily think that that's very good, but let me see if I read on and I see kind of what's going on. So it says, 10-year-old Wilbur Carrero is less than 4 feet tall and weighs only 50 pounds. He's small for his age. That's exactly what makes him good at his job. Wilbur spends his afternoons climbing banana trees 4 times his height.
16 feet high.
16 feet high. That was some good math thinking there. So here's this little 4-foot child, and he's climbing these banana trees that are 4 times his height. He expertly ties the heavy stalks of bananas so the trees won't droop from the weight of the fruit. I've been working since I was 8, he told TFK. This is a Time for Kids article. I finish school at noon and then go to the field. In Wilbur's poor country of Ecuador, 1 in every 4 children is working. An estimated 69,000 kids toil away on the vast banana plantations along the country's coast. Ecuador is the world's largest banana exporter. Kids working in the industry are exposed to harmful chemicals, pull loads twice their weight, and use sharp, heavy knives. So I'm sure I'm looking at some of your faces and your mouths are dropped, and so I'm going to model some of my thinking, and I appreciate you guys letting me do that. So after I just read those 3 paragraphs there, I'm left sort of thinking, well, maybe I should get some facts down first, but I have so many thoughts going through my head. Hold your thought real quick. And I'll come back to you. Hold on to it, because I know you have, you don't do any writing yet. Just, I'm going to model first, and then I'm going to give you guys a chance to do the same thing. So I think, like, the one that just stands out to me is that this fact here that says an estimated 69,000. So I'm just going to write 69,000 kids. I want to make sure I get all the facts right. Toil away. What does that mean, toil away?
Like working.
Yeah, they're like working super hard, right? They're toiling away on the vast banana plantations along the country's coast. 69,000 kids working, and this is the crazy part. Well, and that's crazy, but then also it says they work in the industry, or they're exposed to harmful chemicals. And they pull loads, so they're pulling a manual weight. They're working and lifting.
They could, like, drop them on themselves and just...
Absolutely, yeah. And then it says, and use sharp, heavy knives. So I'm just going to also add they are exposed to harmful chemicals. If you want to write this down, actually, you can, if something just stands out to you right now, go ahead and get it down. We don't need to wait. If you are just feeling like, wow, there's a fact that we just read, and you're like, I got to get this down. This is like, I can't wait to talk about it. Go ahead and write it. Are exposed to harmful chemicals, and they have to use sharp, heavy knives, like dangerous tools, sort of, right?
You only get paid $6.
So I'm not quite there yet. Jules, we'll try not to read ahead so we
Well,
can.
that was
I know.
It says it
That
right
was-
there.
Wait, where?
See, hard work for little pets.
Oh yeah, so we're not quite there yet. So hold those thoughts. I love those.
Yeah, that was my question.
And dangerous tools. Okay. So my thinking about this is I'm a little bit shocked. I feel sad and upset a little bit, right? That young kids have to work. That just doesn't seem very fair to me because I think about what I know about kids and they are playing and they're involved in all these activities, and I know in the United States kids, so my background knowledge, I know that how old do you have to be to work in the United States? Do we know?
18.
18, right? To be able to work and have a paycheck.
But actually, don't you need to have an ID?
Yeah, so when you're 18 you get.
But you don't get an ID to it.
Well, think about driving. So that's a whole other topic we can get into. But yeah, you can get an ID that's just not a driver's license. It's just an identification card. Yeah. And so my opinion about these facts that I just read, I'm trying to make the connection between how I feel about what I'm reading. Makes me sad. I'm not sure I have any changes in thinking yet. I need to read on and see if I end up changing some of these thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading, and I think I need to scroll down a little bit. Let's take a look. Okay, so the next little subtitle says, do kids belong on the job?
Oh, we didn't finish that one. We didn't do hard work for little kids.
Oh, it goes down. So I know so this is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to see on this, but so you read down the list and then you go up to the next column. Right, that's sort of how it's, so this part up here is part of this column, which I know we haven't done a whole lot of work with feature articles. Guess what's next for Writer's Workshop? Guess what we're going to be
Feature
writing?
articles.
Yeah! So this is kind of a great entry point for feature articles, and so we'll be able to build on this particular one, and what we notice about the features, right? That's another great point when we start our own feature articles. So we're going to read, do kids belong on the job? So this, right now, I'm thinking, no way, right? No way. Child labor is certainly not limited to Ecuador. The United Nations estimates that 250 million kids around the world are forced to work. Many countries don't have laws limiting kids' work. So limiting their kids' work means that they can put any kid at any age to work. I feel like that is shocking.
The problem is if they do put the kids to work, then they couldn't really live.
Well, why can't the parents work?
They do. They don't get paid enough.
Yeah, so I love these thoughts, you guys. These are some great thoughts. And if you have those opinions, write them down on your sheet, right? That many countries don't have laws. Is that what I read? That they don't have laws limiting kids' work? Wow. Don't have...
Now, maybe not work at 8 years old, but like 12. Yeah.
I mean, like, there are so many
That
dangers
seems a little,
in that.
that
Like,
seems a
they,
little
like,
young.
fall from the trees. They have, like, I don't think there's anything, like, no harnesses holding on to them. No way. They don't.
Yeah, and we haven't been given any of that information, so we don't exactly know what that looks like, what the working environment looks like. But the fact of the matter,
Super tall trees.
super tall trees.
They, like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, and they could be on big ladders, which are just dangerous. Doesn't that sound a little bit dangerous?
Fall over onto the kids.
So I'm going to keep reading and see if at any point I notice that my thinking changes. A concerned group called Human Rights Watch conducted a study of Ecuador's banana plantations last April. They found that most children begin working on plantations around age 10. Almost, yeah. And then it says their average workday lasts 12 hours, you guys. Who knows how long we're at school for?
7.5.
7.5 hours.
I thought it was
12. Can you imagine having
That's
If they get out of school from noon, then it's like 12 hours is like till 1 a.m. It's still
Yeah.
midnight.
So Julian's going back to the little boy who spoke up
Yeah.
here, and he says, I get out of work at 12, or get out of school at 12 and then go right to work. and then you work for 12 hours. Can you
Wouldn't that last till, let's see.
Yeah, and I noticed some of you were doing that math in your head. So let's continue reading. I'm really looking, because remember, our goal today is to see if, my friends, if our thinking changes based on what we read. So we're digging. Good, I love it. That's fantastic. And I'm going to ask you maybe if you can share those in just a little bit. So then, it says their average workday lasts 12 hours. By age 14, 6 out of 10 no longer attend school. What?
Oh my.
By age 10.
No, it's 14.
By age 14, thank you. Because I don't want to get my facts wrong. 14, 6 out of 10. By age 14, 6 out of 10 kids don't go to school. Wow! That makes me feel so sad because I'm thinking, I'm feeling like what I know about education, I feel like if kids worked, maybe would they have a better life? I mean, if they went to school and got an education, could that maybe provide them with more opportunities? Oh, that makes me so sad. So, so my opinion to this is, oh my gosh, I'm shocked, first of all, and I feel like if kids went to school, they would have more opportunity, right? The education provides them, they know so much more and they know what else is out there for them to do maybe. They have more opportunities, right? So, wow, I'm just feeling so sad. I'm looking at this little picture of this little boy and I'm feeling like it makes my heart a little bit sad. Okay, so up to here. Oh, wait, I think we gotta go back down here a little bit. Many families face the difficult choice of either putting food on their tables or sending their kids to school. Whoa, I feel like I need to reread that. Many families face the difficult choice of either putting food on their tables or sending their kids to school. Whoa. So now I'm thinking it's a decision they're being forced to make. So I'm going to read on a little. So I'm feeling like I'm not feeling as angry anymore. My heart went to like a little bit of a sad place that families, this is hard for families. They're not just sending their kids off to work because they don't want them to be around the house or whatever. This is a difficult choice of either putting food on their tables. So if they're making this decision of whether to eat and survive or sending their kids to school, what does it tell you about these kids?
They're kind of poor.
The families might be really poor.
I mean, but that's kind of sad because if maybe they went to school, they could get a better job. But the thing in Ecuador, they don't really have those kind of jobs. Like, it's very rare.
Yeah,
so you guys,
there's no great jobs. I'm sure there's some jobs.
Well, and we don't know. This is one article, and we don't know everything about Ecuador, right?
But yeah,
this
that's
is sort
my
of
guess.
one art. Yeah, that's a good guess, though. And I have to say, you guys, this is a perfect example of how our thinking can change. I went from reading these facts and feeling super frustrated, who makes kids work, to now I'm going, wow, this is so hard for families, right? It's so hard for families because they are kind of forced. It's survival, food, or school, or education. Wow. Or decision, right? To decide. School, it's almost like or survival. So those kiddos are working to get what? How are the kids helping with food and survival?
They get bananas.
They get,
Well, they
so
get money.
maybe
They
bananas,
don't
but
even
they
get
all,
to get the bananas. They have to just
put them away. They don't even get to eat bananas.
Yeah, so maybe they're just, because I think we might learn
I mean,
about.
if like they sneak them, they'll probably get like into
if
trouble.
they get
Yeah, I would say so. I would think the same thing. So really, do you think that they're getting money? Do you think they're working to get money to help be able to buy food? But do you think it's a lot of money? No.
$6.
Wow. So now I'm feeling sad for the families. I'm feeling like, well, this is definitely, I'm not mad at the parents anymore like I kind of felt before. Now I'm feeling like, whoa, wait a second. It's not the parents' fault. It's just that they have this really difficult decision to make. School or food for survival, right? A thumb up if you've had a change in thought along this journey so far of some kind. Why don't you turn and talk to someone next to you and see if you can share something that you have that you've come up with.
Spending the day. But they still had
Alright, eyes up here in 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, so if you could bring your conversations to a close, my friends. It's hard, right? This is like, raise your hand if you're feeling a little passionate about this as we're reading this. And I'm feeling like I'm just getting, wow, my mind is just going a little bit crazy, right? I'm just really doing lots of thinking here. So here's what I'm going to let you guys do. I am going to stop here with sort of my modeling, and we've been here probably a little bit too long. But what I want you to do is I'm going to give you a copy of this article, and I'm going to let you guys see if you can continue to add facts, right? So just from the text, your opinions about those facts, and then see if as you continue reading, does your thinking change? And then we're going to come back and I'll give you guys about, let's take like 5 minutes. And if you really want a little bit longer, I could probably give you a few more minutes. But we're going to come back and share some of those thinking and really see if we were able to change our thoughts. And we'll talk a little bit about why this is so incredibly important as a reader. Okay? So why don't you take your clipboard with you, and when I give you a paper, you can take it. If you want to stay on the rug, absolutely just fine. You can find any comfortable spot you want around the classroom, and you can start showing some of your thinking about this. This is such an incredible. Love it. I'm just going to interrupt you for one quick second. So Callie just came up with a great point. She has all these questions that she's coming across and she's thinking of. If you have questions, you can write them on the back or write them anywhere on your sheet and see if as you read they get answered. We can talk about some of those when we come back together.
Don't.
A good paragraph. Why is it so good?
It says that there's 30 thinking of philosophy of this child. No, I thought it was used.
Thanks, it's okay, so take another, let's say 4 more minutes, 3 more minutes-ish, and see if you can at least get a few more thoughts down. Because now we have our articles, and so papers can be a little bit loud, so as you're sitting on the road, try to keep your paper as quiet as you can. So I have to say, when I made my way around to some of you, I'm blown away, first of all, by your deep thinking about this issue, right? That makes me feel really excited that you are so empathetic about what's kind of happening. And the thoughts that you're writing down are fantastic. Anybody want to take, not the risk, right? It's not a risk to share, but anybody want to give, to share some of your thinking about, and maybe it would be helpful if as you share, tell us where that information comes from in the article so we can kind of find it and then revisit it. Callie.
Well, I have a lot, but I'll just take some of the ones.
Okay.
Well, kind of just start from like the facts.
Sure.
Well,
We'll just share. Maybe you're the one that you feel the most passionate about. Something that you read that was just.
Well, the one that I am kind of pretty much passionate about is, well, it's kind of like a section.
Okay.
But he like works so hard. It says this boy makes up to 1,200 boxes a day of bananas, and he is really dirty, and it must be really hard for him to not be able to go to school. And he just he might be able to go to school. I don't think it.
So Kelly, can I just pause you real quick? Where are you at in the article? What?
Okay.
Are you on the first page? Okay, the first page. So are you?
I'm like the small ball top.
Oh, you're looking at the picture caption. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's like it's mostly the whole article that I'm
I love it.
from. But like I also wrote, well, this is probably not true, but it doesn't really mention it. But maybe the kid likes the job because maybe he has to get money, but if he could quit, because maybe he likes to work.
No, he's forced to do it, so he can't.
No, he's not forced to.
Yes, yeah, you're
Well,
forced
so
to do it.
I love all these passionate thoughts,
He
Jules.
could go to school.
So I'm going to do a friendly reminder. I love the building off of each other, but maybe we can raise our hands so that we can all
Sure,
feed
he
off
wants
of
to get
Kelly.
food, but he could go to school. That's the only thing that's forcing him. The fact that he needs to get money
Okay.
for food and all the resources he needs.
Okay. Anyone want to build on what Callie is saying, Mia?
Well, I'm not building on it. I have another fact.
Oh, well, so let's hold that thought. Anybody want to build off what Callie's just saying?
Well, when you're younger, you're still allowed to go to school, but after like 14, you just have to full work. Like you can't do anything else. And I agree with Callie. Like
Okay.
you should have a choice. Like you can't think you shouldn't just be forced to do whatever they tell you.
Yeah, so that brings up a good kind of conversation. Do you think that whether or not the kids are actually forced by their parents to do this, if they don't do it, what happens in some cases that we read about? What happens if they don't work in some cases? Tully?
They either go to school or they don't get food and die.
Oh, I had another thing.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to redirect this real quick. Hands down real fast. I know that you guys have a million thoughts. Remember, our focus of this particular lesson is just to think about if, as we continue to read on, did our thoughts change? Does anybody have a specific example? Because I know we're running out of time and I want to make sure that we get some of this down. I'm going to write it up here. If you have a specific example, because we could sit and talk about this article for so long, and in fact, Jake pointed out another little piece of the article where it talks about child labor in the United States, which is pretty interesting. We could sit, so we could talk about that. But I want to see real quick before we end this for today, and we'll get back into it tomorrow. Anything that you read that changed your thinking, Armand?
Well, okay. If you go to the second page.
Okay, the second page. Let me get my little.
Right under where it says work, it says. Last year they signed an agreement not to hire kids younger than 15 to protect young workers from chemicals. So that changed my thinking.
Yeah,
All of the kids have to go, but then it said not kids younger than 15.
So tell me what you actually wrote in your changes.
I said kids younger than 15 don't go to work.
And so how did that, so you read, is that a fact though?
Yeah.
So maybe this we could put over into this column. And what is that, how does that change your actual thinking about this article?
Well, I felt like all the kids might go to work, like all ages, but I realized that only kids like 15 and older.
So I thought that all kids, did you say,
Yeah,
had to go to work?
yeah.
And was this a change that they made?
Yeah, it's like, and they signed it, and they signed an agreement, and last year they signed an agreement, so they also changed it.
Fantastic. I love to see how Armand's thinking. Oh, you're gonna add on? Okay, let me just finish this thought real quick. So we figured out, and right, this is part of learning, right? It's not always super organized. He came out with this and said kids younger than 15 don't go to work, and that was a fact that he read, and so we just kind of aired it over. But his actual thinking is that I thought that all kids went to work. So originally when he had started reading this, that was what he had thought, and his misconception that he found out is that they've changed it so that it's
Still just as cool.
and Sarah says it's still just as horrible. Any other last one? We're gonna take one more and then we have to move on. Who have I not heard from? Jake.
I was gonna say if you read under the one that says the 15 and under do not get hired in my work.
Okay.
It says like 70% of the kids banning child labor. Like where is it?
Just, but
They
small plantations did not sign
yeah, that's
an
what I'm
agreement.
trying to say.
And he says that the
What?
70%.
This is pretty incredible. So my mind again is going wild with thoughts. So it says, but small plantations did not sign the agreement, and he says they employ 70% of the kids. Does that change anyone's thinking there?
Yeah.
Something that so based on that fact, did anybody have a change in thought?
A change in thought of a change in thought.
A change in thought of a change in thought. What is it? Tell me yours.
Now I think that kids under 15, some do go to work.
A change in thought in a change in thought. So that from this one, we're sort of thinking, wait a second. But some still work. Oh my! Some of the younger than.
Some kids still work under 15.
Wow. So is that illegal?
No, because they didn't sign the
They didn't sign. Who are under 15. Okay, so my friends,
It's really cool.
hold those thoughts real quick because we have to close this up. But we're going to have a chance to share because we're going to get back into this. Here's what I want to say to you. It's so helpful, right, as we read, especially nonfiction, as we read, we find out more. And instead of just having a surface thought that may or may not be right, that we can dig in as we read, find out more, and then our thinking can change. And so I'm going to leave you with this thought, which is what I'm going to hopefully help hopefully this is something that we can all work on. Keeping an open mind as we read is so important because may we find out more information? Could we be wrong? Oh, goodness. All right. Nice work, my friends.
Can I just say something?
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Okay.
Well, my thought was, you know how they work?